So Carol, can we start the meeting?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You are the chair and you can start it whenever you're ready.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and call it to order. And Carol, you wanted to start with a roll call?
Actually, I was saying you should do that as the chair unless you want me to, but I'm looking at this list and thinking I have a somewhat out of date list.
Oh, okay. You know, Teresa, do you have the whole list there?
Second, from a previous minute here, so just give me 1 minute, 1 second.
Sure.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. So I'm here. I'm Teresa Tejada. Royetta.
I'm here.
Bernadette.
I'm here.
Larissa.
Hi.
Hi. Tom.
I'm here.
Bruce.
I'm present.
Kit. And I know she's here, but she might is having audio issues.
Yeah.
And then Wanda is absent. That's
okay. That's it. All right. So approval of the agenda. Did everybody see the agenda?
yes.
Do you want me to share that now, Bernadette?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Thank you.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. So I'll give everyone a minute to look at it. See if there's any changes you'd like.
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that looks good.
All right.
So I guess a motion to approve?
Yes.
Second.
All righty. So approval?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. So the agenda is approved as written. Okay, so we have the, for the new business, we have current response rates by, well, first of all, I guess the reason why we're calling this meeting is because the rates that are coming in right now aren't quite what we would have liked them to have been. And we're certainly not where we were back in 2010. So I've been keeping track online, and there are some ideas that they've thrown out about how to get your rates up. And so we thought if we had the whole group meet, we could really talk about how we could possibly do that. So Bruce has been kind enough to put together the census rate, the census response rate by census tract, which is how we distributed the signs. So Bruce, I'm going to go ahead and let you take over that conversation.
Okay, did everyone get the one-page summary that I emailed out yesterday, I believe, or Saturday?
Yeah, I saw it, Bruce. And so just to a question, it looked like we were on track for 2010 self-response rate.
Yeah, I think the way I would characterize it is that Royal Oak's response has actually been pretty excellent. I mean, we are at 74.9%, which is way above the national response, which is down at 56%. We're significantly above the Michigan response, which is around 63%. And we're also several percentage points above Oakland County. So 74.9% at this point is actually starting to approach the self-response that that Royal Oak was able to attain back in 2010. The self-response rate in 2010 was 77.4. We're at roughly 75% now. Now, given the coronavirus, it has lengthened the amount of time, the number of weeks that individuals are allowed to self-respond, but nevertheless, we're rapidly approaching the response rate that we achieved 10 years ago, which is pretty amazing given given all of the barriers that have been thrown into this process. So what I did outline is the fact that there are 8 census tracts, which are basically neighborhoods in the city, that do have lower than average response.
Bruce, are you able to share your doc, or do you want me to share it so people can look at the tracks?
Sure. Yeah, if you can share it, that'd be great.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop my share, so you should be able to hit the share screen function now.
I can't yet. It says host disabled participants.
Oh, let's see. Larissa, let me make you a co-host and then you should be able to do it.
Thank you.
Try that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, there it is.
So item number 4 on this document, I just laid out basically some of the characteristics that these 8 lower than average responding census tracts have. And you can see the first item, 5 of the 8 census tracts with below average response have a higher than average share of renter occupied housing. That's of these characteristics, that's the strongest characteristic, is that renter occupied housing is a much bigger share of households in these census tracts that have not quite responded as well as the rest of the city. Half of these census tracts have below average poverty, and then 3 of 8 of the lower reporting tracts have either an above average 65 plus population share, an above average share of children under 5 years old, and an above average share of non-citizens. So why did I look at these particular variables? These are all populations that kind of historically have been hard to serve in terms of getting good response on the census. Geographically, these 8 neighborhoods tend to be south of Catalpa and Gardenia, and some of them are actually north of Normandy. So based on this, kind of what we thought was going to happen appears to be happening. We kind of targeted renters from the start, kind of assuming that renters might be one of Royal Oak's toughest targets to get a good response. And this reporting data so far seems to be bearing that out.
Bruce, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I have learned through some work with some outreach for the city of Detroit that the paper, so for those folks who didn't respond by phone or online, they would have received paper forms to complete. Do we know the percentage of folks who receive paper forms? Because the issue appears to be in Detroit, that there's a large number of paper forms that went out. And because of COVID, census staff was not at full capacity. So there was a lag in counting the paper forms. Do we know if how many people have received paper forms, and perhaps that our count might actually be better than what it's appearing, but there's just a lag in counting them.
I don't know that off the top of my head. That's something I can try to look into. What I can tell you is that these percentages that I'm displaying here is the total response. Census on the public site that's available to anyone is displaying both the total response rate as well as the internet response rate. The vast majority of this response at this point is internet, but you can get data for each one of these census tracts on that difference, the total response as compared to the internet response. And of course, the difference is either people responding by telephone or mail. Whether there is data at this point on specifically the mail response, I don't know, but I think I can probably find that out.
Okay, yeah. That's what they're finding in Detroit. They believe that there's a lag because census staff is not there to process the paper forms.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Does, since on April 22nd, I documented all of the response rates, and then I went back today and updated that, and it's significantly higher today. So it was, and I can share, let's see, I can share that. Let's see, here it is. So here is, here is the difference today. I mean, it's gone up considerably in Royal Oak overall, as well as in each one of our census tracts. So I thought this might be helpful to talk about targeting, how we want to plan moving forward and targeting some of the lower overall rates.
Yeah, when we originally placed those yard signs, we did place them using a formula that, and part of the purpose of the formula was to place more signs in the areas that had extra rental housing. So it turns out, if you look at these 8 census tracts that have the lowest response as of now, 55% of the signs that we distributed went to those tracts, and those tracts make up 44% of all the tracts in the city. So we did place more signs in these very tracts that are slightly lagging behind.
Larissa, you bring up a really good point, because it looks like, broadly, just the lower responding census tracts seem to have like a higher percentage. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong numbers. Never mind.
Well, it's interesting to see the internet response rate. So, yeah, Bernadette, can you tell me the internet response rate? Was there a separate tab for other response rate?
No, it was reported total and internet.
So if you just subtract E and C from E.
Yeah.
Right.
If we look at, Bruce, if we look at some of the, I guess the question, we're wondering whether those harder to count census tracts tend to respond by mail versus online. And I don't, that we might be able to kind of just ascertain that by making that subtraction between the total and the internet.
Yeah, I think you're right in that there's going to be a definite lag. The internet response can be and is being cataloged daily. These numbers are being refreshed daily. It's much faster for the Census Bureau to compile and report out on these internet responses than they can ever do with their phone and mail collection. So I think there's just going to be a built-in lag for any collection that they do that's not internet-based. And there's the actual response that we have is probably going to be higher right through this whole processing period, because we're not going to see the mail and phone response as quickly as we see the internet response.
Can somebody refresh my memory on the time frame of how things are, especially now with COVID? Where are we at on the so the paper forms have gone out, but do we know yet if and when the door-to-door is going to occur?
I have a friend, Teresa, who is doing that, and they were supposed to start in May, and now they've extended it to June 15th. So I don't know if that's just here in Michigan or what, but that's what they've been told as census takers.
Yeah, actually, the last time I tracked this, the non-response follow-up process, which is when they send out all the enumerators to knock on people's doors, that was not scheduled to start until August 11th. That's how far it's been pushed back.
Wow.
So it's been pushed back significantly.
And the new deadline for like the end of the census, is that November? Am I remembering that? I'm trying to look it up and I don't remember, Bruce. Do you know?
The Census, the Commerce Department has actually gone to Congress. They're actually asking for a statutory delay. It's actually written in law that this data has to be delivered to the administration, I think on January 1 or something. But they're actually asking for the law to be changed so that this process could be pushed back, I think, to like the end of March. So it's pretty evident that the Census Bureau does not believe that they're going to be able to deliver this in the normal schedule because of the coronavirus.
So while we can still encourage people to fill it out online, even as this is as going, as the papers are going out, as the enumeration still going out, like that's definitely still something that we can support and encourage people to do, correct?
Yes. They actually have a kit online where they give you different flyers and different things to get people, again, as reminders to get people to respond. And Carol, are you able to share the map with us? I know you showed us that link. Are you able to share the map with us? Because that might be helpful as well. I mean, it might be helpful for us to set up some, not competition, but, add a little bit of, well, I guess it is competitiveness to it.
I know where you're going with that, because I was kind of thinking that same thing as saying, hey, come on, track 1834 or 1835. You need to, you need to beat 1831. Don't let them beat you, something like that, just a little friendly banter kind of thing. Yeah, we'll, that's what I was saying. I'll give Michael a call tomorrow. I'll be in the office tomorrow, and I'll call him and have him work me through it so that I can put it on our page. And then we can share that on Facebook and Nextdoor and kind of, maybe build some hype that way with it.
Are you able to share that right now? I mean, if you click on that link, or is it not live yet?
I just need the one I showed you earlier. Yeah, I can bring that up. I just need whoever's sharing the screen now. There we go. I was going to say, I don't think I can. So let's see, that was in my email. Here it is. Now we click on, this will be the public facing. Oops, there it goes. And so that's what it'll look like. And then
we don't see it, Carol. I'm sorry. We just see still the email.
Oh, okay.
If you go to your share screen, it might show up as a different app thing that popped up that you might have to swap over
Yeah,
to.
different window.
Let me see. Well, let me do this. Let me just open that independently. Well, I had it open at one point and it didn't allow me to.
So while you get that up, one thing that I was wondering about, like after April 1st happened, is like, oh, I'm wondering if we sent like a mixed message with the lawn signs, like, oh, April 1st is past, can't do it anymore, and like I saw like in my own neighborhood too, like someone took the lawn sign like maybe like a week or so after April 1st and like, well, this is done now, and like took it out of the ground and like put it in a trash can by a park. So I'm wondering if, while we think about messaging going forward, if we need to say like, you can still do it and don't worry about the April 1st kind of thing,
I would agree with that because I noticed that this did not go well.
I think that maybe some more signs are out. You're right. I'm trying to think. We used to have a couple in our neighborhood, and I don't remember if they're still there.
Well, I was asked if they should take them down, and I said, no, don't take them down yet. So I don't know if some DPS workers maybe got, anxious and did that, even though I had said, no, don't do it until we ask you. The census is very much still going on. But I do agree that people are confused, I think, and don't think that it's still going. And I noticed that the sign, I asked them to do the digital sign at the farmers market, and I noticed that it says by April 1st on it, which is a very bad message.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't seem to be able to do this. I tried to save this as a PDF document, and it saved very badly.
You know what, Carol, you might be able to, in the chat, put the link in there, and then maybe we could open it up.
That's okay. Let's try that then. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to my email. Go. Okay.
Just send us it via email. We'll get it.
All right. What the heck now? What's going on? There we go. Let's see. To everyone. Okay, there it is. And yeah, I'll forward the email right now that I have it out here, but forward. I think you'll probably have to copy paste to your browser from that, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. There we go. I just sent it to you. But yeah, this is we were talking before everything got started officially that there's you'll see two links when you see the email come through. The first one is what he calls public facing. That will be what would appear on the web page, on the census web page. And then the other one is, as I described it, the back door where you can go in and change those numbers. So each week when we get the updated numbers, we can do that. I think the signs, I don't know if we want to like move them maybe just closer to the areas that have the lower numbers. That was the only thought I had on the signs. I don't know if there's a way to like get a bumper sticker that says, through, I thought the date right now is August 14th. That's the date that I had when I did a 2-page ad for the Spring Insight, which comes out on May 20th. So there's a 2-page ad in that. And I put the August 14th date on that. So sounds like that's maybe going to be out of date by the time residents receive it, that they're going to have longer than we thought. So we'll just have to keep updating that. But yeah, we can send the challenges out. Another thing I thought of is, we can put it on the city commission meeting agenda again to give a little update and talk about where we are at in terms of, where we stand based on state averages, Oakland County averages, and then talk about the neighborhoods that have the lower responses on maybe, by getting it out publicly that way too, it would help inspire people. I had an ad sent to me last week from the Census Bureau last Friday, but I didn't post it on social media yet because they are still looking for employees, and they're looking for employees to go door to door. And I'm a little hesitant about putting that out there with the Royal Oak, name on it, if that's not a safe situation to put people in yet. So it seems like they are going to go ahead with door to door at some point, but I don't know how they're going to get workers to do that. If people are really going to want to do that, that's going to be an interesting push. So
Yeah. Well, I thank you for taking the initiative and putting the ad into the Insight. That's great that you just went and did that on our own without me. So I appreciate you doing that. And I think that going and making another, like an update on the city commission is a great idea.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe, if we can have some of the, like either the mayor or, somebody at one of the meetings, remind people about that.
Yeah, and I think another nice thing to do would be to have, like you're saying, the mayor or one of the other commissioners, or maybe a couple different people, so it's different voices. Just do some little, videos that we can post on Facebook. I know the city I live in, my mayor goes on Facebook quite often. And it, especially now, what they're telling us for communication reasons, if you can put something out there that's a live, person talking where people can have like a contact with another human, albeit remotely, that it's more effective than the printed word.
Yeah, I would agree. I've got a friend who lives in Livonia, and he's been getting individual calls about the census, and and I'm not sure if those are volunteers, but I don't know if how they would get the phone numbers and all of that, because unless it's through the city.
Yeah, I believe Livonia, Michigan, 10 years ago had the highest self-response rate of any city in the country.
Wow. Well, their city hall's completely closed, so I don't know how we would get in contact with anyone there to ask, but I can ask the city clerk if we can generate call lists.
The mayor sent out a robocall, which I got, and I wonder if couldn't do another robocall.
Yeah, so the robocalls that we sent out were very directed. They were, it's interesting that you got one, Tom, because the data we asked them to base it on were over 65 population without internet connection, because we felt people with internet were probably reaching through the website, Facebook, and Nextdoor. But it's those individuals who don't have access to the internet we were really worried about. So we did 2,500 calls. We've done it twice now, and the cost is like just a little over $75. It's like 76 and change, 77 and change. So I talked with Judy about it, and I think we can, we could just direct it to start with the 2 lowest tracks and do robocalls there. I don't know if they can, delve down and dig down and find out if they can go through those neighborhoods and find out which houses haven't responded and just call those homes. I'm not sure. But if they can't, the message can always be, if you didn't respond. And if you did, ask your neighbors if they have, so you can make it a real positive both way.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. The other thing is, like with the seniors, it really would be helpful to know. And Bruce, is this information available on those other the other sources you have about the age of the population who has responded?
No, there's no demographic information yet on the individuals that have responded. There's plenty of information, demographic information on each of these census tracts. So I can rank these census tracts on any variable you want. So if you're wondering what are the top 3 census tracts in terms of high numbers of renters, or the top 3 census tracts in terms of a senior population, or any other variable, that can be easily done. But there's no real-time data on people, the households that have responded yet.
Okay.
Carol, a question for you. The phone numbers that are used for the robocalls, are they voter registration numbers?
It's an outside company that we're using. So I'm going to text Judy right now about it.
Yeah. If for the phone, what DTE is a volunteer effort is doing phone banking for census and completion. And they're using voting records. What I found is that, well, in Detroit, the records are actually pretty, you're actually reaching a lot of folks. And the folks who are registered to vote are kind of the folks who really do fill out the form. So it's just kind of a funky thing. It'd just be interesting to know what they use for phone numbers.
Yeah, it's a company called In Focus, and Judy Davids, our community engagement person, has been working on. So I'm texting her right now.
Yeah, yep. I think there's a reason why it's hard to count. I mean, I don't know if the renters are following us on Facebook. I don't know. They may be registered to vote, but they, immigrants are, may or may not, they may or may not be registered to vote because they might not be citizens. So it is a hard to count population.
Yeah.
So one thing that we've been kind of thrown around in my job, like of how to kind of just get messages out too, is, again, I'm not sure with with the populations that we're looking to serve too, if they're kind of like getting out, but looking at just kind of like chalk messages too, as everyone's kind of going out and walking, getting their fresh air, even just writing some like messages in chalk. That could be a little bit different from the lawn signs. So something that I want to consider by like the apartment buildings and stuff like that.
That's actually, then not a bad little community service thing that my daughter and I could do on the weekend. Although it is supposed to be 20 and 30 degrees this weekend. Last weekend.
Of course.
What about new lawn sign?
Oh.
That might be effective, but I think that the challenge is, do we have to get permissions for those? Now we have very focused. We don't even have to get as many.
You don't have to get permission to put them out.
Well, no, for like the ones that for the tracks that we're talking about, and maybe we revisit like those locations. If we have hopefully good locations, I think the lawn signs are very effective.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's just a matter of budget. Like, do we have a budget for anything?
Well, the robocalls are $75, but they can call 2,500 people.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how many they actually connect with, right?
So Judy said that she's not sure if their voter registration, that those lists came from county records.
Probably gonna. The only record counties would have is probably voter.
Yeah. I can do some directed social media, like, just start out with renting. Yeah, we still need to count you, and then put a little blurb in about, just if you rent, it's based on where you were living on April 1st. And yeah, we definitely still need to count you. You're still part of our community. And, I can maybe do some stuff directed that way. Renters, that can span demographics. I'd be more concerned about the immigrant population. They're going to be harder to get to, and the senior population without access to the internet, to Facebook next door and email just doesn't work for that.
Yeah.
Just FYI, the superintendent did include census messaging last Friday in her email blast. So that was maybe helpful, and I'll ask them to do it again a couple more times before the end of the school year, which is like the first time the superintendent has done it. So I'm like, sure, we need to do it amidst all this COVID stuff, but okay, God bless you. So
I know this is, not something that people really is on top of people's minds too, but with food distribution too, maybe there's an overlap of those populations too, and maybe even just having like the banner out or something like that during the food distributions, if wherever those banners are, and just having them there could be another reminder.
Yeah.
So the only food distribution we had was the one last week from the firefighters local. So I can reach out and ask if they think they're going to do that again, but I kind of think that was a one-time deal for them.
Gotcha.
Maybe by the grocery stores. What do you think? Yeah. That's like the one place where people can go.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's one place that's open.
But yeah, so I think it sounds like we have some social we could do, some robocalling. We have to think about the value of that. It's not expensive, so I don't know if there's really any harm in it. And then some additional signs focused on those tracks.
So what Judy said was you could reach everyone in the city if you want. It is 3 cents a call. We targeted landlines because we assume they perhaps are less likely to follow social media, but you could just target the whole city. And she said also advertising and social media through boosted posts is very cheap. So the first thing, I can send an email right now and ask if we have a budget.
The one thing, the social, and Carol, are we just doing Facebook? Are we doing Instagram? Because and Twitter? Because I feel like Facebook is a very different demographic than Instagram and Twitter.
Facebook, yes, it is. It's usually an older demographic. Our Facebook automatically hooks into our Twitter account, and we also do Nextdoor. And Nextdoor seems to be, I mean, there's like 17,000 people on our Nextdoor for Royal Oak. So it seems to be, I don't know if the word's popular or well used or whatever, but it does seem to reach people when we use Nextdoor. And the nice thing about Nextdoor is those 17,000 people, probably 90% are Royal Oak. Whereas when we go Facebook, we don't know if everybody who's on our Facebook feeds are Royal Oakers or not, or if they're just, people who like to come to Royal Oak. So that's the one nice thing about Nextdoor. We don't have Instagram.
Again, I'm just trying to figure out who the renters are. They might be older folks too, but
yeah,
But anyway, that's a good number. I don't know if we could do. So we have social, we have possibility of lawn signs and phone calls. What are our thoughts in terms of trying to get those additional census tracts?
If we have lawn signs, do we need a different message?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. it might, I mean, we ordered 200 and that was close to $1,000 for the 200. And Bruce, could you anticipate what might be an amount that would cover the, if we say the top 3 census tracts? Because it really, compared to 2010 responses, everybody is really pretty close. So if we, to that, to what they responded to. So if we took even the top 3, that were 70, 67, and 64%, and, targeted those areas, how many signs might we need to do that? 50 signs might do it. Those are just 3.
Yeah, the first time around, if you look at the 8 census tracts that right now have the lowest response, we sent out just over 100 signs to those 8 census tracts. I think it was about 110.
Okay.
So if we sent out 110 signs to 8, if you were to cut it down to the top 4 or something, then yeah, you'd be looking at probably 50 to 60 signs if we assign roughly the same number of signs per tract. I also can send out to everybody a document that has the exact intersections that we place the signs, or at least that we originally planned to place the signs, so people can kind of see where these signs were placed the first time around.
That might be worth looking into. I can, what I would ask the committee is to come up with some language for a sign, and then I'll go ahead and price them out, and then I'll get with Carol and see if there's a possibility of ordering some additional signs.
One thing I know about the signs that we used is that it's that base, that H-shaped wiring.
Yeah.
That's the major cost in those, because I know when people are finished campaigning, the ones that know they're running for office again, they're out there picking those things up, because that's the expensive part of the sign. So since we have those, it might not be horribly, expensive to
just get the signs.
Just get the signs to put on top. Yeah.
Well,
and going back to this school, I'm wondering if we could ask them to put that on their digital signs, because they have to be running out of things to put on theirs too, because they don't have events to advertise anymore. I know I've driven by and I see they have school is closed, and then they'll have like the free lunch pickup where that is each week, but maybe they would be willing to put a sign about, don't forget to fill out your census, the schools rely on it. And
we asked, the high school had agreed for us to place lawn signs, but maybe they would be willing to do that. That's a pretty good location for renters anyway.
Yeah.
But I can start, I'm not sure who's answering. It'd have to be by email probably for all the administrators. So it's building by building. I probably could do some of that follow-up and see if they're willing to add that to their signs. One of the things they are advertising is school closed and the food distribution. So they're trying to prioritize. I don't know and I think they might have to come into the building to change the sign. So that might be a big ask in that respect, because they might not be coming into the building otherwise.
One, I think if you went through Mary Beth Fitzpatrick, you could reach everybody all at once, right? You just ask Mary Beth if they could put it on the signs. Maybe she could reach out to all the administrators.
Yeah, I'll give that a try.
At once. And as far as the programming, some of the newer signs, I think they can do remotely. So they might not have to come in to do that.
Yeah, I'm not certain. So that just might be a challenge, but yes, we could see if that would work.
I'll ask the market to freshen the one up to put, it's not too late. You have, if we can get the best or most current date, I'll have them change that out just so that it looks a little different.
I think one of the other challenges that we have, so I think we have a good couple strategies so I'll reach out to the schools. I think, Carol, it sounds like you're going to do some social on Nextdoor, Facebook, and that automatically populates our Twitter account. Is that what I understood?
Right.
And so I guess our decision is just about signs and phone calls.
So while we're sitting here, I emailed our finance director and the assistant finance director to ask if we have a budget and what it is, because I've reviewed all of the electronic files James left for me, and I don't see him having submitted a bill for the signs. So I don't know how that happened, how they were paid for.
Well, I did get the check because I paid for them, Carol. So
Okay.
it would probably be under me.
Yeah, but okay. So do you know about what time frame you received that check, Bernadette?
Yeah, I can find out.
Just a month I can go through, because I can look at our claims and see when you were paid and then figure out what number they
It must
used
have been
for.
March that I was paid.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking, but I'll go back through that invoice and because I'll go back to the same place to see what the cost might be for 50 signs. I can pick up, I probably go by at least 10 signs, so I can pick up the wires when I'm out on my walks. Just pick up the signs and the wires.
Yeah, Bruce, and if you don't mind, I know you sent it out months ago, but if you don't mind sending that out again, I'm happy to go around and pick up all the signs as well.
Yeah, I'll send that out to everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we want to think about the kind of language we want on social media and the signs. I mean, I can come up with a mock-up sign since I did the original sign and, send it out to everybody. And maybe we could have a meeting in a week because, we're not doing anything anyway. And
well, you can't have a meeting in a week, Tom. Let me just tell you what it takes to put together a meeting just easily enough. It's myself and Richard Wilson having to come in because of the way we have to run these meetings. We can't run them two at a time. We can't run them back to back because of the production and what it takes to do them for all the requirements for the Open Meetings Act. So having an open meeting, we have to demonstrate a need and you have to have time. There's no time next week for another meeting. There's already 3 meetings with a tentative of a 4th going on. The week after that is the same situation. This is a tough month because it's budget month. So there's extra meetings that have to be held by the city commission. The budget has to go forward. So it's not that easy.
Yeah.
I can create the social media verbiage and send it to Bernadette for approval before I post it. Normally I just put something on there and post, but I'm happy to send it for approval.
Yeah, no, Carol, I think you've been doing a great job. Tom, if you have ideas, what we've decided upon today, it seems like we could continue this through email.
Yes.
And just do the follow-up that way. Tom, if you want to come up with language for a new sign, that would be great, and just send it on to me. And then Larissa, just let us know if you're getting a response back on the digital signs. Carol, you keep putting things up. The one question I do have about that map, I didn't see numbers on the map. It was color coded. So is that
the key was off to the side? Maybe it didn't show up.
Okay, yeah, that's what okay. So so then we can move forward with the plan, it seems to me, and just continue the conversation via email.
Yeah.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, Bernadette, what I'd be willing to do is to do a couple scenarios on these signs, maybe a scenario where we order 60 lawn signs, maybe another one where we order 120, and then show how those would be broken down by neighborhood in the city, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. That would be very helpful. Yeah.
So one thing that we discussed earlier on, but kind of moved on from, is like whether we wanted to get, you know, someone like the mayor, the city commissioner, or we want to do a presentation with city council. So like, do we want that? And then who should we ask, and who should ask them?
So if you want the mayor to do it, I'm happy to reach out to him and ask him to do something. And I can work with Judy, our community engagement specialist. She can, you know, help them film it. And we can run the verbiage by Bernadette. She can share it with all of you. That's that issue. And as far as the city commission, if you want to come and talk for a few minutes, I do the city commission agendas. So I can put you on the city commission agenda to go before public comment, and then it'll just say that we're doing a 2020 census status report. And our meetings are by Zoom now. So I would send whoever's going to represent the group to talk. It doesn't have to just be one person. I can send you the Zoom invite, and then the mayor would call upon you to give the update. Maybe some of the commissioners might even ask you questions. And we have 2 meetings in May. So we have May 11th or May 18th. Our meeting schedule's compressed because of the Memorial Day holiday. So if that sounds like something you guys want to do, that can be done like right now.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how many people tune in, but I assume it's a pretty good amount. And the other nice thing about the city commission meetings is I think a lot of seniors that don't access the internet do watch on cable TV.
Yes.
You know, the one thing that I think that would be a really good forum for is that I think one of the challenges that I see in social media is that it's not just people knowing that we want them to complete the census, but they have all these kind of really specific, they have all these questions or kind of obstacles to filling out the census. So I'm just wondering if there's a way that we could support kind of some of the bigger more frequent recurring questions in that kind of format, because you can't do it really with signs. You can't necessarily do it with robocalls. You can't necessarily do it with electronic signs. So that might be a format where we could, you know, just clarify certain things. It's so many questions. People think that it's been privatized, that there are ways to do it online, even if you don't have a code. You know, things like that. I don't know what the top questions would be. It's beyond the FAQ. It's kind of more detailed, but people are like really tangled up in it.
Do you want to make like a little Zoom video? Like we could even have like a little Q&A, talk about it like this, and like record it, and then just like post that on like social media?
Maybe that's something, you know, Carol, maybe that's something that, you know, I really don't want to, because I'm not miss photogenic here, but I could try and see if there's something that answers those little questions that maybe we can refer people to. That, you know, maybe answers questions really quickly, like, oh, how do I, you know, what do I do with my college kid, or my college kid's home?
Yeah.
Well, who does it for that property? Well, like they could, that is, you know, that came up in our thread, right? I don't know.
It could be like a cute thing for like a drama club, like the drama.
No, it's all sounds so cute, but it's just like
there's no time.
it's just to figure that out and to engage them, and you know, but I'm going to see if there's something that's already available, because it might be. So as we speak,
you know, there's a lot online, Larissa, on their website, the 2020.gov or census.gov website. So we might be able to find something there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just see if there's something that is fun, but that might be more hipster.
Try YouTube.
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
There's so much on YouTube. Whew, scary. Anyways, okay, so just to kind of wrap up, Larissa, you're going to get a hold of Fitzpatrick about the digital signs.
Yep.
Carol, you're going to work on the social media and the various platforms that we have there. The group is going to, Tom, you'll start with the sign and come up with the language to start with. Bruce, you're going to send us that by the census tract, how many signs were distributed by census tract, etc. And then was there other things you were going to send us?
Well, like I said, I'll try to do a little couple different scenarios depending on how many signs we produce and how those could be allocated to the different neighborhoods within the city.
Okay, good. And then what about the robocalls? I don't think we made a final.
Well, do you want me to ask Judy to find out what the cost would be to do the whole city?
Yeah, and would that include renters?
Well, I can find that out. When she says we targeted landlines, soon they follow us. So we could reach everyone in the city if you want. So let me explore that with her tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, how do you target like cell phones? Do you have everybody's cell phone information?
She said these come from county records, so I don't know. These are good questions.
More and more often than not, it's a very few people that you actually reach with that people. But it's, the thing is it might just, but you get so many more people. You get so much coverage. Maybe it's worth, for the cost. It doesn't sound like it's super expensive. It might be worth that to layer it.
I mean, speaking as a millennial, I don't listen. If it's a call that I don't know the number to, I don't answer it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, like, if it's cost effective for my social group, but maybe for different demographics.
I agree. That's like what we were trying to do again with those robocalls was reach seniors. And I know, like my mom would pick every call up. We'd have to keep admonishing her, Mom, don't answer it. You have caller ID, but so it does work better with different age groups, different generations that have different trust levels with people.
I'm so lonely. I'm answering everything. Hello?
Oh, good. I'll forward my calls to you.
Is this a person? I'll talk to you. I miss you.
Channel 2 gave out our phone number last week saying, after they were covering the firefighters giving out that food, and they gave out our number saying, that we had done this, not saying that it was a one-time thing. So the next day we had 170 calls for people looking for food, which was so sad. So fortunately we have a really sweet intern who's still working, and so she did a lot of the calls. Her and Judy, they called everybody back. They weren't Royal Oak residents, but we called everybody back and give them information. Yeah. So yeah, it's tough when you want to call people. So
folks,
yeah.
I need to wrap up because I'm sorry, but I need to help with dinner and get the food on the table.
Absolutely. So I think we all have our assignments. We'll keep in touch by email. If anything else comes up, Judy or Carol, you're going to get back to us on a couple of those budget items, and then all of us have our own tasks to do, right?
Yep.
Okay. Any other ideas? Just forward them on to me, and I will make sure the committee is aware. Okay.
Glad to see everybody. I'm glad everybody on the call is doing all right.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks.